Okay, so we're going to learn how to share Logic projects today in two different ways. The first way is going to be easier. I'll show you if you're sharing with somebody who also has Logic and can open your project file. Here's what we do for that way. You right-click on your project and we go to compress. And this will create a new file. You need to make sure the project is closed when you're doing this. Otherwise, it will not compress. So make sure Logic is closed. And there it is. It'll take a second. And once it's there though, I'm just gonna move it to my desktop for now. You can just upload the zip file to your Google Drive. So, or Dropbox or anything like that. So if I go to my drive, I can just pop it in there. And there it is. And you have to compress it first. If you try to upload the Logic file directly, Google Drive or Dropbox will ruin the file. Once the other person downloads it, it won't open, so you have to compress it first. And the last thing to remember is that if you're sharing over Google Drive, you need to make sure that when you get the link, that general access is anyone with the link, not restricted. Once that's set, you can just copy the link and send it to your buddy over text message or email or whatever. Now, let's go about the harder way. If your friend does not have Logic and you want to share your project, we actually have to open up the project, go in there. So we're gonna do that. You probably don't need to share all the individual stems, but you can. What we have to essentially do here is do stems. So if I wanted to share every track in this project, I would have to select them all, and everything would be rendered as its own separate file. And what I would do after selecting that is export 40 tracks as audio files. Now, I feel that would be good if you're sending it to Audio Engineer, but if you're sending it to your friend who just wants to work on a track with you, why don't we collapse these track stacks that I've made so that it's not overwhelming. And now we can render these files. So the drums will be on one track, all the rhythm guitars will be one stereo track, the bass will be one, all these voice layers will be one track. And again, you do have to select them all. But now when we go to export, it'll be 6 tracks as audio files. Now that's gonna be more manageable for my friend who's not an audio engineer. Again, if you're sending to a producer or an engineer, you want to send every file individually, separately. If you have 40 tracks, if you have 80 tracks, render them all separately. But for my friend who is not an engineer, 6 tracks is plenty. I'm gonna create a new folder on the desktop. And yeah, there we go, new folder. I'm gonna call it stems. There we go. I'm going to export my files there. They're going, exporting selected tracks. Okay, so make sure you save your project if you've done anything to change it. We're going to close out of there. And so now I go into my desktop where I made that folder. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are my stems. If the person you're sending to is not working with Logic, this is how we have to send the files, individual audio files. So now that they're here, I can upload this entire folder to my Google Drive. So you could use Dropbox or any file sharing service, really. There we go, it's uploading our folder. And then once again, this is gonna show up here, QRS, and we'll just check in there, and there's all our files. So when we're sharing, once again, make sure that access is not restricted. And then you can just go ahead and copy this link and share with anybody. I know there's a way to send it over email, but I find that convoluted and annoying. I just love to do the link sharing. It's so easy. And that's it. You just send the link to your friend. Even if they don't have Logic, if they're working in a completely different DAW, they will be able to import these audio files into their DAW. Or if you rendered 40 or 80, however many, they'll be able to import them. So that's it. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a fun time working on music with your buddy, and I'll see you in the next one.